When Justin Bieber burst onto the scene in 2009, he didn't just become famous, he sparked a cultural phenomenon. His concerts turned into frenzies, airports erupted with screaming fans, and Bieber Fever swept the globe. But among all those adoring faces, one girl was determined to become more than just another fan. That girl was Hailey Baldwin. At just 13, she wasn't content to be just another fangirl. Her father, actor Stephen Baldwin, used his Hollywood connections to get Hailey a backstage pass to meet Justin during a taping of The Today Show. What appeared to be a sweet moment between a star and a young fan was really the start of something far more significant. For Hailey, that brief encounter was a spark. From that moment on, she set out to weave herself into Justin's orbit, even if it took years to get there. Hailey's approach was methodical. She started appearing at all the right places: movie premieres, award shows, hotel lobbies, fan events. Each appearance seemed like a coincidence, but the pattern was impossible to ignore. She made friends with the right people, Kendall and Kylie Jenner, for example, who were already close to Justin. She reached out to Bieber fan accounts, asking for updates on his whereabouts. Sometimes she'd even show up at the same hotel or restaurant as Justin, blending in with crowds of fans, her presence never seeming out of place. But it was all carefully orchestrated. Then, of course, there was Selena Gomez. As Justin's romance with Selena became the talk of young Hollywood, Hailey's journey took on a new urgency. Selena wasn't just the pop princess with a Disney pedigree, she was the one thing standing between Hailey and her dream. While countless girls accepted that Justin was spoken for, Hailey was relentless. She watched Selena's every move, mirrored her style, and began to build a network that brought her closer and closer to Justin. Hailey's persistence paid off. By 2014, she had moved from being a face in the crowd to a member of Justin's inner circle. She was there for group outings, dinners, and eventually, private gatherings. There were whispers that her friendship with the Jenner sisters was strategic, especially when Selena, Kendall, and Gigi Hadid traveled to Dubai for New Year's Eve, leaving Justin alone in Los Angeles. As the clock struck midnight, Hailey was by his side. Fans speculated that the Dubai trip had been orchestrated to give Hailey her opening, and it worked. But even as she got closer to Justin, Hailey couldn't escape Selena's shadow. The similarities between the girls became impossible to ignore: matching outfits, similar tattoos, and identical Instagram poses. When Selena got a small G tattoo behind her ear for her sister Gracie, Hailey soon debuted an identical tattoo, claiming it was for her pastor's daughter. When Selena launched a cooking show, Hailey quickly released her own kitchen series. The imitation was so uncanny that fans began to call Hailey a copycat. What started as admiration started to look like obsession. Meanwhile, Justin's relationship with Selena was a roller coaster of public makeups and breakups. Their connection seemed genuine but volatile. By 2018, after nearly a decade of headlines, the two split for good. Justin seemed lost, struggling with his faith, mental health, and the pressures of fame. In a twist that stunned the world, just a few months later, he married Hailey Baldwin. The girl who had waited in the background for years finally got what she wanted: Justin Bieber's last name. But the fairy tale was anything but perfect. In interviews, Justin looked emotionally drained. Gone was the effusive, love-struck teen. In his place was a young man grappling with his own demons. The warmth he'd shown with Selena was replaced by a distant coolness with Hailey. Public appearances were awkward. Justin often walked ahead of Hailey, rarely holding her hand. Viral videos showed him looking annoyed or disengaged, while Hailey smiled through it all, determined to keep up appearances. For Hailey, this marriage was more than a relationship, it was validation. After years of plotting, persistence, and ridicule, she'd finally won. She was Mrs. Bieber. But the victory felt hollow. Selena's presence still lingered. Every time Selena released a new song or made a public appearance, Hailey seemed to respond, posting similar content, revealing matching tattoos, or launching projects that mirrored Selena's. When Selena dropped Lose You to Love Me, a raw ballad about letting go of Justin, Hailey posted a screenshot of herself listening to Summer Walker's I'll Kill You. She claimed it was a coincidence, but the timing was impossible to ignore. Insiders whispered about tension behind closed doors. There were rumors of arguments, distance, and emotional coldness. Even Hailey's father posted a cryptic message on social media, asking fans to pray for the couple, a plea that sounded more desperate than proud. The world began to wonder, why was Hailey still holding on? Why stay in a marriage that seemed so emotionally fraught? The answer, it seems, isn't just about love. For Hailey, leaving Justin would mean abandoning the identity she'd spent her entire adolescence and adulthood building. Her brand, her fame, even her sense of self were now tied to being Mrs. Bieber. To walk away would be to admit that the fantasy she had chased for so long was never real. That kind of loss is more than heartbreak, it's an identity crisis. And then, in the midst of growing speculation, the story took another turn. Justin and Selena were spotted at the same upscale restaurant in Los Angeles, an accidental run-in that sent social media into a frenzy. Eyewitnesses described the atmosphere as tense but electric. Selena was poised, her smile unwavering, while Justin seemed visibly unsettled. They exchanged a few words, brief, loaded, and private, before going their separate ways. Hailey was nowhere to be seen, but the internet exploded. Fans replayed the scene, searching for hidden meaning, wondering if old sparks were flying or if it was simply closure. What really happened at that dinner? No one knows for sure. But one thing was undeniable, the world was still deeply invested in the triangle of Justin, Selena, and Hailey. The encounter reignited debates, fueled new waves of speculation, and proved that some stories never truly end. Hailey Baldwin got everything she ever wanted. But the cost was steep. The girl who once looked up at Justin Bieber from the crowd now stands beside him, forever in the spotlight. Yet, in many ways, she's still on the outside, waiting for the day he truly turns to see her, not just as a fan or a follower, but as the woman she fought so hard to become. Sometimes, the fantasy is safer than the truth. But as long as the cameras are rolling and the world keeps watching, the show will go on, leaving everyone to wonder what might happen next in this ongoing drama of love, ambition, and obsession.